Have you ever spent so much time staring at a blank screen on your computer searching for that perfect website design that you've actually counted every select all delete all 294 times? If you're nodding your head or checking your own count, you're not alone. When I started doing web design, this happened to me, more often than I'd like to admit. In my 25 plus years of designing websites, I've discovered 4 great resources to inspire new ideas which I'm sharing with you today. These aren't just random inspiration sources. They're part of a system that's transformed how I approach design. So grab your coffee and let's get inspired. First, we'll look at web design award sites. You know, the type of sites that have you wondering, why didn't I think of that? Let's start with awards, which showcases innovative and cutting-edge web design. Think of it as the museum of modern art for websites. Clean, sophisticated, and occasionally makes you stand there thinking, I don't get it, but I love it. I'm going to take a look at a couple of sites so you get an idea of what kind of inspiration you can find. Let's take a look at this site. I'm struck by how they've used typography. They've created a clear relationship between different text elements, and it all flows naturally. I've noticed how they spaced the text and paired different fonts. These small touches shape the feeling of the site. I'm also drawn to how they reveal their story bit by bit as you scroll down. It's kind of a clever approach that catches your eye. These smooth movements aren't just for show. They help get the message across naturally. Let's find another site. This one looks interesting. When I look at different websites for inspiration, I pay attention to how the design naturally draws your eye to certain features. It's like they're creating a gentle path for you to follow. Some images catch your attention right away, while others quietly support the overall feel. I notice how they use larger and smaller elements, different colors, and empty space to make everything feel natural and easy to take in. And what really makes the design special are those little details, like subtle textures and overlapping elements that create depth. These touches make everything feel more inviting while keeping it easy to navigate. Next is FWA, which is Favorite Website Awards, which recognizes websites that push the boundaries of web technology and interactivity. This site has been around since 2000, so think of it as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for websites, minus the leather pants. I'm going to take a look at a couple examples on this site also. The Iceberg site looks interesting. Let's see what it is. When I'm searching for new ideas, I love seeing how websites thoughtfully use photos, colors, and white space to tell their story. What really draws me in is how they've found the perfect balance between the visual elements and the space around them. Those thoughtful choices in spacing and layout make you feel something when you look at the page, like pauses in a conversation. Each element feels intentionally placed. I find myself especially inspired by how they blend different types of images and artwork together. It's amazing how they make everything feel like it naturally belongs, the way they mix photos and illustrations and playing with colors until everything just flows. Those thoughtful combinations tell a story that makes you want to discover more. Let's take a look at another website. When I explore this one, I'm drawn to all the micro interactions and hover states, those small moments that transform the user experience. How the buttons and menus respond, the timing, the style of movement. These are the kinds of details I save for inspiration when I want to add an extra layer of polish to my designs. Now, the 4 sites we viewed show us how far you can push animation, but I'm here for the design inspiration. For me, I prefer using movement strategically to enrich the experience and enhance the storytelling. Now here's a pro tip. Always do screenshots. I can't tell you how many times I've bookmarked a site to only find 2 months later the site doesn't exist anymore or has been redesigned and the new design, well, it looks like they accidentally uploaded their 1997 GeoCities backup instead. Oh yeah, definitely do screenshots. Now let's talk about where designers really hang out. And no, I don't mean the corner coffee shop. I'm talking about social media and design communities that are basically like social media, but with better aesthetics and fewer cat videos. Let's dive into Pinterest. a designer's secret weapon for endless inspiration. You'll find incredible typography, color palettes, and layouts that spark your creativity. Use the More Like This button, and it's like having a design assistant who gets exactly what you're looking for. Plus, you also find great designs before they start trending. Next up is Instagram, and I'm not talking about your usual feed. The Explore page can become your personalized inspiration engine once you start following the right design accounts. Then, when you spot something interesting, you simply save it to your collections. Behance is where you'll find complete design journeys from concept to execution. You can see how other designers tackle real-world challenges. The filters here are incredibly powerful. You can explore what's trending in specific industries or regions, giving you a global perspective on design solutions. And then there's Dribbble, perfect for when you need specific design element inspiration. You use it differently than the other platforms. It's like a design component library. Looking for innovative navigation ideas, color combinations, hover effects? This is where you'll find them in their purest form. Now here's one that's so obvious it hurts. Good old Google or Bing, DuckDuckGo, or whatever search engine you're using these days. Sometimes the best solutions are hiding in plain sight, like that USB cable that only fits after you flip it 3 times. Here are a few search queries that consistently uncover inspirational sites. Best Restaurant Websites 2025, Innovative E-commerce Websites, Award-winning Travel Websites, Minimalist Web Design Inspiration. Let's try one and see what Google displays for the results. The results have quite a few examples, but let's look at this site that has 20. Looks like a decent selection, but I'm looking for something that catches my eye. Costa Vida colors are doing just that. When I explore a site for inspiration, I pay attention to how they implement their color palette and how they balance their primary brand colors with supporting shades. This approach to color can transform even the simplest layouts into something memorable. I'm also taking a look at their grid system, not just how it looks, but how it organizes complex information, how the content blocks create natural reading patterns. These are the kind of layout ideas I save for future projects. What really impresses me is how the design supports their online ordering system. The menu items and ordering process flow naturally within the layout, with each item expanding on the page for ordering. It's a perfect example of how thoughtful design can enhance the practical features that matter most to a restaurant's business. Here's another pro tip. As your inspiration library grows, browser bookmarking, screenshotting, and saving to a folder doesn't scale well. Trust me, you're going to want to have a good file management system in place. One that lets you easily add items and then visually filter the files by tags, colors, dates, and so on. I use a tool called Eagle, but there are several options out there. The key is organizing inspiration in a way that makes sense to your creative process, and to tag everything by both design elements and the feeling it evokes, which makes it much easier to find exactly what you need later. Now let's move beyond the computer screen, because sometimes the best web design inspiration comes from places with no Wi-Fi at all. Nature provides a great resource for inspiration, as do everyday objects that we barely notice. Nature's been doing UX design longer than us. Take this sunflower's perfect Fibonacci spiral, for example. See how naturally it guides your eye? The same pattern can direct users exactly where you want them to go on a web page. And how about sunsets? Nature's been perfecting that color palette since forever. Look at how those sky-to-sea transitions can transform into gradient backgrounds for your site sections. And those cracked earth patterns have been perfecting the grid layout for millions of years. Notice how they naturally divide space? That same principle translates to e-commerce product displays that feel intuitive and organized. And modern architecture mastered minimalism long before web design existed. Those clean lines and balanced spaces translate perfectly into category layouts that feel intentional and uncluttered. Art galleries perfected the art of whitespace long before web design existed. So next time you're in a museum, notice how the space between artwork enhances each piece. That same principle makes modern product displays more impactful. And package design has been nailing user experience since before screens existed. Look at how these T-box patterns can inspire the perfect website backgrounds. But these are only a few examples of what's all around us. I think this quote from Paul Rand says it best. Everything is designed. Everything. So remember, inspiration is everywhere. Even those coffee-stained napkin wireframes you created during lunch could spark your next amazing gradient pattern. And the key to unlimited design inspiration ideas isn't just finding ideas, it's capturing them when you see them. Because, let's be honest, none of us remember that amazing design we saw that one time on that one site. Next, we'll explore how to take all this inspiration and make it work on every screen size known to humanity, and probably a few that haven't been invented yet.